What's up, Baker Bro? Can you hear me? Is this could this possibly be the first time that I get on with the audio working? Hey, what's up, David? Can you guys hear me? Eventually I won't ask that question. I'll just kind of do it, but for now, awesome. I think it's just because I'm by myself, and that seems to be the way that it goes when I want to actually pre-program something and try to figure it out. It doesn't work, but if I just do it, it's fine. You notice my voice is a little raspy, and I don't know if it's because I'm getting sick or my allergies or because I talked too much this week. So I'm drinking water. No vinegar tonight, just water. And I got these new watercolors. I'd never heard of them before, but apparently they're vibrant and fancy, so I'm gonna try them. They're called QOR. Let's see, brand QOR. No idea what it stands for. I can make something up, but I'm a little out of it this evening, but it's okay. I want to try to get in the habit of, even if I'm not feeling too great, to just do this and share stuff with you guys, because it's been really fun doing the sketch for sketch thing. So I'm going to try to keep it up and do a little more chill ones by myself. I know that, like, when we get the gang together and I need all the moral support around me and we do all the weird shit. Oh, speaking of weird shit, I have like peanut butter on me or something. No idea how. I think it's paint, actually. Hey. And then now that I'm alone, you'll get the dog barking. So, hey, what's up, Gabe? Good to see you. Dan, you're on here too. Yeah, I'm also, like, speaking of, well, I don't know how chill it's going to be because Harvey keeps barking. Hey, Harvey, come here. Don't look at me like that. Come here. Come here. Let's talk to everybody for a minute. Maybe you'll calm down. This is Harvey. He's pretty chill normally, but when Chloe's gone, every single noise he hears, he thinks it's Chloe coming home, so he gets super excited. So, look at him. He's just staring at the door. Just hoping. But I don't know. I don't know when she's coming home. We might have to have another obituary for her, like we do every night when she's not home after 5 minutes. But yeah, like, speaking of, if anybody has joined me for Sketch for Sketch and has had a chance to check stuff out, I really want to dial in that show and do something really cool with it. So feel free to leave any kind of, like, feedback, both positive or negative, what you like about it, what you don't like about it, because I really believe in that. And I want to keep going, and I want to, like, kind of do something that, you know, is more rare on Twitch, which is kind of like a weird produced reality mixed with fantasy show, and has some elements of instruction, but I'm not a very good teacher, so I mostly want to have just kind of like show you how I do stuff and just chill and talk and hang out. So let me know. And regardless, oh yeah, this Brightmare's hat, I gotta fix it. I got him. This is like one of the samples, but I gotta, like, I gotta move it. I think I'm gonna move it down like a quarter or half of an inch. So this is just one of the samples we've been working on. So it'll be I think I'm gonna drop some hats next week. But I like to kind of make sure that everything is to my liking before. This shirt just came out today, the shiny one. I got it in black and white. Technically it's called Here's John, but if anybody on here bought one today, that's very nice of you. Well, I think I'm just going to jump into this. Try not to say so much. Got my Master Shake, my favorite water cup, but he's getting so destroyed. You can kind of see, like, that's clear. That's supposed to be, that's just plain water. It's so disgusting. And I've cleaned them out so many times, but I've had it for like 10 years, so. Hey, what's up, Red? Yes, this is a me shirt. Well, technically it's a Jack shirt. Oh, thanks, Vince. Man, I did not meet my quota of not saying enough. But I think it's because my throat's hurting. So I need to get some tea or something. I'm pretty hopeless when I'm by myself. Oh, look at that. Ting, ting, ting. That's a good sound, Master Shake. Where is my... There it is. My trusty little spray bottle of water if I need it. This one I'm going to do a little bit more controlled just because I'm going to try out these new paints that I got. If you're just joining me, I got this new brand of paint today. And it's called QOR. They're watercolors, which are concentrated watercolors, which the difference as far as I know is kind of like concentrated orange juice or concentrated I don't know, purple drink or whatever. Lean. It's you'll notice some watercolors come in like the trays already and you just kind of have to water them down and they're more like blocks, and then these are actually liquid that you squeeze out, so they're really hopefully potent, and then you just mix them with as much water as you want, but you have the opportunity to go really hard with them. But since they're new, I'm just going to kind of like try to see how they feel while I'm painting. And I think I don't really know this is one of the new shirts. Yeah, I got this in white and black and a hoodie today. So it's online right now. AlexPardee.com. Hell yeah. Oh, thanks for picking up the Wu-Tang shirt. But like I was saying, I'm going to try not to make too much of a mess with this. I might make a little bit of a mess and add some texture, but I just want to try out these watercolors and see how much control I have with them. And with watercolors, unless you kind of put some masking fluid down, it's really hard to keep the white of the piece, or paint white over watercolors, because all of them are just like opaque. So I kind of do like really, really light washes on top of everything, and I'm soaking the brush with a lot of water and not even that much paint, as you can see, because if probably like let's see, actually I'm curious myself what these will look like. Here, let me blend this in a little bit so that it doesn't just leave a hard line. Welcome to the stream, Greg. If you're curious, I got these paints actually from a store called Carter Sexton's in Los Angeles. It's in Studio City or North Hollywood, I forget, but they're very nice. Mom and pop style store. But for being a mom and pop store, they have some good prices and some good stuff. And they're very friendly. But I want to try to see just what this looks like in comparison. There's like a little white wash that I did. I'm going to put some water down, and I'll even spray some just so that I know that there's some water on there. And I'm going to just take a bunch of paint. Oh yeah, that looks really good. Well, I don't know if it looks good, but it looks bright. And let's get some more water on there a little bit. And let's try... We'll add some Quitochrome Magenta. Oh yeah, look at that. See, I love when paint does that. This is why I like watercolors, because I just like to look at it. It's like looking at like miso soup. When you like get miso soup and you just like watch it separate and then form. And it never dries like this. It's always kind of forever blending. So it's more of like just liking the process and then being okay with what it looks like when it's done. Hey, thanks, Jay West. You kick ass as well. Yeah, these seem to be pretty vibrant, so that's exciting. So that means for sure I have to go really light with the paints. See, I wish it could like dry. I mean, you can kind of get it to dry a little bit like that if I took like a hair dryer and kind of dried it, but it would still separate it, especially with anything. So I'll just kind of I'm going to let it sit there and see what it looks like. So I'll show you what it looks like when it does dry, considering if I don't do anything to it. It's not going to look that good. It's just going to look like a big orange mess, I'm sure. But you never know. Let me get a different piece of paper. I think this, I made the overlay super bright today, and I think it's a little distracting, but you live and learn, you know? So there's another plain piece of paper. I'll try to keep this on here. And let's wash my brush out so it doesn't have the red in it. My voice is really going out. I might just chill and not talk. So this is going to sound like a really dumb question, but for other Twitch users, how do you... I don't know how to ask this without sounding totally stupid, so I'm just going to ask it. Like, when you are working on something and there's music playing in the background, is that music from your computer that's like playing out of a speaker, or is that on a separate device like an iPad or another computer or something? Because I feel like whenever I try to turn the speaker on, it just gives super bad feedback, and I don't know how to do it. But thanks, Greg. My voice is lovely tonight. And so I'm just going to wet the paper a little bit so that I can just kind of keep adding some colors of this. As usual, I don't really know this. I got to kind of figure out what this dude or girl is like whole world is about, because it kind of just looks like sax on sax on sax with like a little like quarto or something in there. But this guy is the main guy, and this is a parasite, so I don't really know the story behind it. But so these are this guy's legs, and they extended once the parasite got on there. But I don't really know yet how or why. It might have been from like a haunted toy store or something. Speaking of Toys R Us, since we got the That's Incredible episode with Toys R Us called out on the last episode, and that's one of my favorite things. So why couldn't this be just a haunted toy parasite on top of fucking Stewie from Family Guy or something? Makes sense. You play audio from... Okay, wait. Oh, that makes sense why everyone's got headphones on. I see, headphones make me uncomfortable. It's weird. I'm like... I don't know, they make me feel like super... I'm not claustrophobic at all, but putting headphones on makes me feel like weighted. I don't know. So, I'm good without music. If you guys are, you can put music on or shut me off. I'm just going to be painting for a while. So, probably not adding too much substance to the matter. But I am adding water to the matter. And this is a good thing to do, not only because it kind of primes the paper and gets it ready to accept wet paint, but also it kind of just gets me in the process of, in the mode of adding water to paper, or adding painting. I guess that's the proper term for what I'm doing, is painting. So it's almost like I get to like get my hand in the motion of doing paint strokes without just jumping right into it and pressing too hard, or water is a substance, yes. And yeah, I definitely know that if my audio sounds bad, you'll let me know, and that's something that I appreciate a whole lot. Now, one of the cool things that I'm doing, well, I don't know if it's cool yet, depending on these paints, but I'm not painting certain areas, or I'm not coating them with water, because the watercolors blend a lot, and if you don't put water, like if you build up water on places that you want it to blend and then don't put water on stuff that you don't really want it to blend, the paint will kind of have a mind of its own, and it'll listen. It'll be like oh, there's an edge there. I'll stop. There's no water. So that's kind of really fun sometimes. But it's like around the eyes, around the lips, around those kind of things that I might not want it to totally blend into. I'm not putting too much water around there, or any water. Unless somebody put water there when I wasn't looking. What a prankster. Hey, thanks, Jag, I guess? I'll call you by your first name, or the first part of your name. I think this is enough water putting on her for now. Start building up some yellows. But I just like barely want to get any on, so I have this paper on the side so that I go, oh yeah, that's kind of a lot. Let's just kind of get more water to it. And a little watercolor goes a long way, but it's a long process if you want to build up layers, because watercolor goes on really vibrant and you get all stoked on it, and then it dries and it just absorbs into the paper, so it'll always dry duller. So that's why I just go into layers and layers and layers, and it adds texture that way too. The light's probably not the best thing to have on here. Maybe that might help a little bit to not have direct light on it because of the glossiness, but let's see. That looks a little bit better. What is this? Oh, that's way bad. Alright, we gotta have some glare. Oh man, now I ruined it. What a world. Alright, now this is bothering me. Because now one second. Well, it looks like we're pretty much back to where we were, but that's fine. What deal? And so it looks like these watercolors are acting really good. Like, I kind of left for a second just now and came back, and even though they were a little dry, I could still kind of pick them up and blend. These stages, it's actually like being on Twitch and stuff is a little intimidating for me, because these are first stages of my paintings are I'm never like stoked on a painting until it's like 90% done. So it's just kind of getting through the process of experimenting and making mistakes and putting down color and kind of feeling it out. So it's a very vulnerable position to be in. So you can judge me all you want, but just know that I'm crying inside while you watch. What's up, Casey? Welcome to the night. My voice is kind of, now that I'm not feeling great, kind of like Casey's. If you don't know Casey, but I know Casey, and his voice is very sultry. If you're just joining the stream, welcome, and know that I'm very well aware of the glare that's on the page, and I apologize for that, but I wasn't set up for this, I guess. I'm set up to just sketching and using ink, so I'm going to continue soaking this for a little bit. It dries really fast, so some people tape this down to their board so that it doesn't wrinkle. Like, you can kind of see it if I go this way. It's kind of warping. Well, yeah, you can kind of see it. And that's fine. Once it dries, it'll kind of go back to normal a little bit, but It's because I turn the page a lot when I paint. So. And with watercolors, it's really important to go light to dark, unless you're just abstractly throwing color down. Then, I mean, that could be really fun, especially just to watch it blend therapeutically. But to kind of keep any kind of form or anything, it's really hard to go back over areas with watercolor without making them really muddy. The more it's kind of like a multiply layer in Photoshop, if you're familiar with that. The more paint you put on, it just kind of adds color and adds value. So you want to just be as light as you can for a while until you don't feel embarrassed about it. This particular paper is just cold press watercolor paper, which the difference between cold press and hot press is cold press has a lot of texture and it's kind of more immediately absorbent. Hot press is kind of smooth, or it's really smooth, and you can get some really, really cool effects with it because it's kind of glassy, but the ink doesn't soak in as quickly, so it kind of disappears. So you'll get kind of more fall. You have to have more experience with hot press paper because it'll fool you into thinking that you're done with the painting, and then it'll disappear. And there's this other kind of paper that I've tried a few times and I can't grasp it, but I've seen some people do some really rad stuff. It's called Zupo, and that basically feels like it's like thin, super glossy. It almost feels like film, and like you can get super, super rad effects on it because you can always lift the paint from that. You can just keep putting water and dabbing it with paint. And not like dabbing in the cool way like you do in high school, but dabbing it with art. Art dabs are way less cool. And I don't necessarily fill in everything with a base color or anything. This is basically going to be the texture layer where I can just have a couple of little values underneath there for when I go. I don't know what I'm coloring it with, but I am going to keep a simple palette with this one. I got to figure out how Bob Ross does that thing where his colors go across the screen. But that was in the 70s, so they had way more advanced techniques of stuff. This is not a paper that you can necessarily sand down. I mean, I guess you could, and it would just rough it up, but I think that it would really, I mean, it's paper, so it would really kind of just really fuck it up, which would kind of be a cool texture. I guess I could try that. I use another type of surface for some of my paintings not for watercolor, but when I do similar looking things with acrylic inks and stuff like that, which I'll go into and I'll do one of these someday. But I use clayboard, which clayboard is an amazing surface because it just has like the ink soak into it. It's basically made of clay, of compressed dirt and charcoal, I think, or something, graphite. I actually don't even know what it is, but it's some kind of clay compressed together to make a piece of board. And so the ink soaks into it, but what's cool about it is you can scratch it. You can use a little knife and scratch it away or sand it down or buff it out and get some really, really cool effects with like your white, because basically when you cut it off, it's white. So you can sand off an area. You can do your highlighting by like sanding things off. It's fun. Yeah, those star wipes were pretty sick. People use star wipes a lot. I think I like star wipes. Star wipes sound like celebrity toilet paper. My favorite transition from the 70s is like maybe it was on like Love Connection or The Match Game or whatever, but where it would just, the heart would get bigger and that's how the scene would change. That was good. Well, it's it's still a little bit wet, so let's make it a little bit more yellow. Not much, but a little bit. We'll make it a little bit yellow in some of the spots that I want to kind of keep it yellower-ish in. And once again, this is just adding texture and stuff, and trying not to overdo it, because, like I was saying, it's really hard to go back. I mean, you can remove the paint, like you can actually take, as long as it's wet, you can take a paper towel and just kind of dab it. Once again, those high school dabs come in handy. So you can dab it and kind of absorb some, but you'll never get it all the way off once you put any kind of color in the paper. It instantly stains at least a little bit of it. No, the blow dryer is here, but which I'm gonna have to use it on this because it speeds up the process, and it helps seal some of the blends in place without gravity kind of taking them and doing their own thing with them. Gravity is real, despite what you guys think, but I don't have an extra outlet for. We moved. We've been trying to kind of like change the setup here every day when we're doing sketch for sketch, which is on Mondays and Wednesdays. And because of that, I don't have an extra outlet for the blow dryer. So hopefully it'll reach if I can figure it out. And I didn't know that I was going to be doing this today, so I didn't go buy an extension cord. But worst case scenario, I'll walk off screen for a second and blow dry the shit out of this little Toys R Us Ghost Boy Parasite. There is, I've tried to doing the saltwater technique and stuff. I personally am not like a huge fan of it. I think it's a little bit like, I like to be able to control stuff to make it look uncontrolled. Whereas like with salt, adding salt to it and stuff really like makes it super like uncontrollable and unpredictable, which could be fun if you're doing something like a galaxy or like you have a lot of space to work with. But in my experience, I haven't used a lot of adding salt to that. But it is cool because you can put the salt on, and then when you lift it, it basically lifts all the paint off where there's little specks. So you can add some texture. I currently don't have any art gallery shows planned at the moment. I'm kind of spending some time and focusing on building back kind of like my merch and my shop, and focusing on the sketch for sketch on Twitch, and just kind of doing some things privately for myself here, and working on a couple of personal projects. So no art shows at the moment, but you'll definitely know the moment that I do, because I'm a marketing whore. I feel like that's all I do is just desperately beg people to look at my art, come see my art, here, buy my art, which is that's how you make a living as an artist, is you beg for support, and hopefully that people understand and like you, and you return the favor. I do as much as I can to kind of support other artists, and buy art and subscribe to channels and share art when I can. So it's a little you get a little give and take. Oh yeah, I guess I could. All right, I'm gonna listen to the chat and segue to my shirt in case you're just joining me. This shirt is now on sale at alexpardee.com. This one, as well as a black version of it, as well as a black hoodie. And to anybody who bought one today, thank you very much. They're going quickly. And these hats will be out probably next week, but I got to fix them a little bit. Dude, you have 10 of my drawings. That's amazing. Thank you. All right, let's... When you see speed paintings of mine, they're probably a lot cooler because all this process is sped up. This might... But you can always jump off and come back on if you want and see what the project is, or progress, I guess. So I'm still just kind of adding, not filling in anything all the way, just kind of knowing that I'm going to want more paint on these edges that are going to be more shaded. And in shadows, I guess. And I'm doing all this with a kind of a thicker brush today than I normally use for like my inking. This is the same brand that I normally use. It's a, let me see if I can get this. It's a Winsor Newton Series 7 brand. I guess you can't really see it, but it's a really nice watercolor brush. And these are all of them that I have. Some of them are a little bit bigger, and some of them are real. The smallest I have is a 000. Let me see where that one is. You can't. It's in the thing, so you can't even see it. But it's super tiny. But they're good for inking because they don't hold that much ink, and you can kind of do really fine lines with them. But for watercoloring, I like to use a little bit of a bigger brush. This is a number 2, as opposed to the 00. So I like to at least have some kind of loose blending and not just filling in, so I use a bigger brush. And it doesn't really matter with watercolor if you go out of lines or whatever. It doesn't really matter because it's fun. That's the nature of it. Water means fun in Latin, and color means also fun in Latin. So it's like fun is what watercolor is. There's a question about pilot pens not working on thick spots of watercolor. Definitely, I don't prefer using pens on my paintings. That's why I still, if I'm going to add the line work, which you'll see on here, I'll most likely either use watercolor for the line work, which doesn't give me the same effect at all, but it matches the texture, or I will use ink if it's like a larger piece, and the ink, I have no problem going over watercolor when I brush one with ink. But yeah, pens are weird because they get the job done, and you technically, like, you feel like you have more control of it. You can follow the lines and trace your watercolor and stuff. But what pens do is a lot of them have a different sheen to the ink. So when you use a pen, like an ink pen or a ballpoint pen or a pilot pen even, you can totally tell it's almost like the ink sits on top and then it ends up pushing the watercolor back, and you can't really distinguish why it looks weird, but it's because there's basically 2 different planes that the colors are sitting on, and no matter how much you shade, it's not going to ever look totally the same. So if you do use pilot pens on them or ink pens, I would suggest going back in after that and doing some washes on top of that, so it kind of blends those 2 planes together. Oh, is that going to be a thing? I'm sorry, I'm okay Flipper. I'm asking, am I going to be able to stream from? You said that they're offering iPad support soon, so that, like, I can, because I use the iPad every day for at least like one section of drawings, and that'd be cool if I could show you guys what I'm doing. Well, I mean, I could just set up a camera, but that'll be even more glary than this watercolor stuff. I'll look into Mr. Crink, bro. I know who you're talking about. I gotta try not to wipe off of my armpit. I got a new shirt on and it's white, and this one I kind of like, and I gotta try to sell it. So, I'm not selling this exact one, but all right. Let me see if this hairdryer situation is like. Well, there's nothing over there. Wait, maybe there is. No, nothing over there that I can use. But let's see. Maybe I can do it over here. Oh, I can do it from this side, so I won't be on the face. Ah! Too hot. I can do it from behind. I can blow this painting from behind. That sounds disgusting. I'm sorry. Dave, welcome, and also, I've used every cord in my house to reset this thing up twice. So no, there's currently no extension cords right now, and I didn't know that I was going to be painting, so I didn't go get one. But I just got all stoked. Hey, Sig, what's up? How are you? You're jumping in when I'm doing the chill thing where my throat hurts and I'm just kind of painting, and I got new watercolor paints that I never used before, and they're supposedly kind of cool and fancy, so I'm just trying them out. Called QOR, or it could also be a snowman this way, like a weird duck snowman. But so I'm just kind of trying them out. They're supposedly really vibrant. Here's an update on our straight weird blend, which that looks pretty cool. It's still drying a little bit, but yeah, it does have a cool effect. Like I was saying, it's just going to bleed into itself and turn like orange, but it's pretty cool. So thanks, man. I'll be fine. I can't tell if it's allergies, which it was last month, or if I'm getting the flu, which everybody's dying of, or if it's just I talked a lot this week. No vinegar tonight. I mean, I could bullshit you and say that this is straight vinegar, but it's not. It's just water. Vinegar's for fun. All right, let's get a little bold with this guy, and let's add some pink to like this whole bottom section, his face and his under, like, so what this is the dude, right? And this is like the grown-up baby dude that still goes to Toys R Us and just kind of sits there holding on to his youth, even though he's old, but he looks like a baby. And then there was a parasite that took the form of a toy and was hanging out at Toys R Us and saw this dude chilling in the aisle. So this parasite took over him. So this is him. These are his arms, and these were originally his legs, but the parasite have since taken over his legs. So that it's a toy. It's like a beanbag parasite, a little toy beanbag, and it took over this weird, stewy little old man that sits in the Toys R Us aisle and is creepy, and probably one of the reasons why Toys R Us is going under. Flapjack is an amazing show, and yeah, the art design in that's really good. So I'll accept that. That's cool. And yeah, I've been trying to get Dave Correa to stream for a while. He's almost there. He needs some rallying. So you guys go tell Dave that he wants some. Okay, this is going to be really, really a lot, but let's do it. I don't give a shit. All right, let's add. So the thing I like about watercolors is they're pretty unpredictable. I mean, you can kind of tell where you're going with them, obviously, but they never really look how you imagine they're going to look, so you just got to kind of keep adapting and going with it and being okay with, like, what? Why does that look like that? But that's why it looks like that, because why not? See, like, I barely had any water there, so they were really bold, but we're not at that stage yet. I gotta just keep layering it up so that it doesn't get all muddy instantly. And the more you don't fill in everything all the way, the more texture you're building underneath it when you eventually do like the final coloring. Do you guys have does anybody on here have like their own kind of painting streams and stuff as well, or what kind of things are you guys into that you're doing? Are you sharing anything on Twitch or just watching stuff? Sig Neutron is on here, which you guys should definitely follow him if you don't already. He's an amazing makeup effects artist and just artist in general, sculptor, amazing sculptor. Him and his wife Ronnie do some of the best and most original and creative makeup effects that I've ever seen. And I got lucky enough to have him give me a big giant brain one time, and that was really fun. And we got to hang out, and hopefully we'll do more. Oh yeah, Red 5. I walked in on Red 5 and Greg today making wieners. Legitimate, gigantic wieners. In every sense of the word, even the hot dog term. Or even in a hot dog way. Oh, come on, Sig. Let's geek out together then. Come on, man. I want to do more. We got to design something together though. I'll be your face off challenge. So the glare on this is making it look a lot worse than it probably... I mean, it doesn't look great yet because it's in these early stages where it's just a mess. But you can see where I put way too much water in the middle because it kind of collected there. So it's all separating there. So let's get a little bit of the more... Let's give it a little another blow. I gotta blow it from behind. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we're going to do it. That we're going to do it was for Sig. Not, I wasn't talking to the Toys R Us Parasite yet. That'll be later when I start getting insane. Oh, Herpes. I'm just going to call you Herpes. Is that your first name? I think it should be. Oh, wait, hold on one sec. Wait. Keep my glass on a different surface. Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know. All right, let's see. I'll put it over here. It might be a setting on my mic, too, but I ain't no audio guy. I need to get somebody who knows all their shit and just come over here and be like, look at how much of a mess I am. But yeah. I know. I'm gonna all of a sudden fall into these weird ASMR things like, rub, tap, squish. But let's keep adding some pink to this dude's underbelly. It could be a girl. It's hard to tell because when the parasite took him over, it sucked in his genitalia. So we don't really know yet. But judging by his look, girls are in general pretty cute and stuff, and this guy is kind of just old and gross. Guys are cute too, but in general, this baby's kind of ugly. So. There was no water over here again, so it made more of lines. With watercolor, you want to kind of not try to make it look like there's just lines. It's more about blending everything together in these uncontrolled shapes and then kind of forming that later and kind of pulling it all together when you start adding details. No, I'm not going to mask. The question is, are you going to mask the teeth and eyes? And I'm not tonight because I wanted to try out these watercolors and try to be as much as controlled as I can with them. So as long as I kind of keep water away from the eyes, there's a little bit of yellow seeped in there. But as long as I keep the water away from the eyes, the paint won't seep into there. And if it does, it does, and we'll worry about it later. But and you can tell where there's not much yellow because it's way more pink than red. All right, see you later, Sig. Thanks for hanging out. That wasn't for you, Harvey. Oh, I think Harvey was saying goodbye to you, Sig. He just mumbled something. So if there's water on and you put a thicker thing on it, it has just this fun effect of getting really dark, and then you get all scared, and then it fades away. And then you're like, oh, I kind of liked that, and then you just got to do it again. So far, these watercolors are pretty good. I like the way that what they look like when they're drying. Like you can see this stuff over here is really cool. And then, so right here I put way too much water around the arm, which I was trying to keep off of. So let me see if I can high school dab it. Well, basically, the yellow is really muted out, but basically most of this will be disappeared. Like it soaks in, so it's just more of like a process of doing it. So what's cool is like you'll notice how much pinker it is there versus the red over here because I had the yellow underneath it. Even if you can't tell, the yellow helped make it kind of blend a little bit more than just putting straight pink on white, and it offers more value changes. I don't technically know how to paint. I know what I have done, but I never learned technically how to paint, so I just know from experience and like what I do and how I get certain effects and stuff. So definitely feel free to judge and critique, and I don't mind. Oh, what am I watching? Eagle Hearts on in the background, which I love because I can kind of just look over and go, oh, that's absurd. So far we've only used 2 colors. I think I only put 4 on the palette, so we're going to try to do this thing with 4 colors and see if it can see what kind of fun effects we can get with it. And I'll try to finish this in one sitting. I usually, with watercolors especially, I don't like to spend more than, an hour or 2 on them. So I like the fast nature of it. Yeah. Sorry, I just kind of zoned out for a second. Also, that clink of my brush, if the water's getting set down is annoying, the clink of my brush against Master Shake is probably annoying too, so maybe I can get like a paper cup or something next time. Oh, I think regarding the stuff that's dropping next week, it's either just going to be 2 or 3 different hats. I'm still kind of finalizing them, but I'm going to start having more stuff pop up as we go. So prepare for that. One of the things that I like doing, and I'll do this real quick in this stage because I'm just about to blow dry it, is I really like just giving little flicks. So I'm just pulling my finger and pulling it back towards me so it flicks the brush. And it just adds a little bit of unpredictable texture to it. You can do it in different ways. You can use a toothbrush. You can use this. And it's another thing where just basically, like I was saying before and I kind of didn't finish, is that I never got taught how to paint. So I don't really know how to, but I know that I can make a mess and keep things generally consistent, and then I can kind of do the line work or build the shapes around that, and it kind of looks like I know what I'm doing. So I'm kind of a snake oil salesman, but it's therapy for me. So, oh, you guys like the clink? Nice. Okay, I need to let this dry for 1 second. And blow it again. Sorry about that. I was trying to... It's still a little wet. I had to get something to drink. Not quite vinegar, but maple syrup, lemon, cayenne. It's kind of insane, but maybe it'll make me feel better. Oh yeah, it does look like a smiling shark. That's funny. Yeah, I like... Sometimes like... What I used to do... Ooh, this is insane. What I used to do... And I mean, I still do it, but sometimes I would just be really more freeform where I would, like, put a bunch of water down, put a bunch of paint down, and kind of mess it around. And then I do exactly that, what Gabriel just said, where he's like, it looks like there's a shark with a smile. And I would then kind of outline and I'd make shapes and monsters out of that, which is a really fun thing to do, too. Now, this... So this same technique, if you're curious, this is a book that I did called Doppelgangers. This is actually like a bloody version of it, but this has like 200 watercolor paintings in it of monsters, of like movie monsters, and all of them were painted basically with the same kind of technique, where it's just building up a few layers. Some of them have like a little bit more freeform texture and stuff, and then I would add some darking to it. Some are really insane, and there's Billy Mitchell, that's my dude. But yeah, all these were painted kind of with the same technique that I'm trying now, so this is just a bigger thing. Yeah, Frank Frazetta is great. I've always wanted to see Frank Frazetta's originals. I've only seen like 1 or 2 in my life, but I know there's a museum, I think in Austin maybe, where he has stuff. But and I mean, I see some originals at Comic-Con, I guess. But at Comic-Con, it's so insane that I don't know how to keep track of everything there. So I'm going to add a little bit more of this texture, then we'll go into a different color and try to spice things up. Like stovetop stuffing. Except stovetop stuffing's not spicy, so let's scratch that. That was dumb. Am I selling any more bloody ones? No, the bloody ones are all gone. They were a limited edition of 150 of them, and I sold them in increments of like 10 to 20 at a time, and they're finally all gone. I have one. You just saw it. I could just lie and be like, no, I don't even have one. And you're like, I just saw it. Like, no, that wasn't it. Rewind the stream. All right, let's see. Let me add some. I'm gonna go back over with the yellow and kind of make it, see if I can bring a little bit of more vibrancy to it. You know, like I was saying, it's a little vulnerable for me at this stage because I know it just doesn't fully look that great. And since I am learning, like every painting is an experiment, I just kind of have to keep going and power through it. So it's cool to kind of be able to share this with you, even though it is definitely a possible failure at every moment. And I mean, not failure, like art is never really a failure. It's just like not how you want it to be, which you should never really get discouraged by because nobody really gives a shit other than you. And I mean, I'm speaking in my terms, like I'll throw a painting away and then I'll be like, you know what, no one really cares. Like no one's going to try to correct me and be like, you know what, I don't think that yellow cheek is supposed to be that yellow. And so it's easy to get sucked into what you think should be perfection, but use watercolors. It won't even matter because you can't do what you really want. No, Chloe's not here actually, Casey. Chloe is out taking photos with friends and having a good night, hopefully. But she'll probably be home and pop her head in. The other thing that happens at this stage is I lose a lot of my original sketch, which you're probably guessing. But if I can kind of keep the same shapes and forms filled in from the beginning, I can just kind of refigure out reassess it and not too big of a problem. If I was trying to do something like realistic that was more paint by numbers, it would definitely be a problem for me to lose those lines. But that's not what I do with my life. I don't know how people do that. I admire people that do more realism and more realistic lighting and stuff because I don't know how to do that. We're getting there. More dabs, but not the cool dabs. These are like dad dabs. There's some dabbing ASMR. Oh, thanks, Insecure Cow. I'm just going to call you by your first name, Insecure. Alright, I'm going to do one more little blowy before I go on to the next color. Am I going to be on any podcast soon? I don't think so, unless anybody asks me to be. The next color, yeah, I'm going to be doing the blue. It's like more of like a Prussian blue, so it might be like a turquoise, but I think that'll be cool. And that'll go into here. And then I'm trying to figure out if I want to keep the arms light. I might do the arms really yellowish so that it pops out from there, but I might do the legs might be turquoise, and then the arms will be yellow, which I think would pop it off a little bit. But yeah, we'll see. Who knows? Who knows? Well, even if you're not posting it Insecure, I like that you're still doing art, because that it's good. It's good therapy. It's stopped me from committing a lot of violent acts. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know if I like that blue. Let's see. I do. I mean, the blue itself is really nice. It's going to look really purple over the rest. But let me see if I have another blue in here. There's an ultramarine. I usually like phthalo blue. That's what it is. Phthalo blue. Phthalo. This is ultramarine, which I think is going to be a more of a darker, which will be purple for sure. So I think I'll probably stick with the phthalo. I didn't know what colors were in here. Normally I would prefer a phthalo green with a blue shade to it, but let's see. Yeah, that one's a lot darker. So I'll go with the phthalo blue. I like it. It's more of a cerulean blue. I didn't know it was out of focus because it was a mess. Now, we want to do too light. Too light is good because you don't want to do too dark, because then it just turns to mud. So too light is definitely good. And what's cool is the parts where there's red, it's more purple. The parts where there's yellow, it's more green. So it kind of adds some more tone to it overall. But this is kind of the stage where you want to make sure that it's not too muddy, because it's real easy, especially when you're blending colors, to like most colors, if you blend more than like 2 or 3 colors, it just turns brown. So you want to be really selective about, you know, kind of what's underneath and how much water you're kind of putting on. Yeah, I don't know if this blue like maybe more concentrated would be okay, but for now it's fine, and then we'll add it a little bit more in a minute. So I'm going to put, this is pretty dry, so it's not going to lift too much of the colors underneath it if I put water on it, but I am going to put water on it so that I can put a little more concentrated blue on it and kind of see how that blends together. So let's see that. So you can see where, like, I have no control over it really, but where it's lighter, it's green, and where it's darker, it's more of like a purplish hue. And I kind of put too much on for this area, but it'll lighten up, and who cares? We're just hanging out. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Matt Musso, for the cheers. That's very nice of you. I gotta get my animations going, so where like when you do that, it'll like play the theme from Cheers or something. Where everybody knows your name. So some high school dabs. That just gave it texture. So you'll see like some places the paint didn't even really want to go because there might be too much water there already. But you know, and looking at this, I might have probably tried, maybe I should have used the ultramarine. It's more of the same tone. It's more of a redder tone rather than a greener tone. But you never know how to use colors unless you use the wrong colors and try to make them the right colors. Oh no, don't be sorry. This brush is this is still a Series 7 Winsor Newton brush. I'm gonna start putting all my brushes and stuff in like links in the videos or something, or descriptions, but yeah, the glare is really catching it. But it's a Winsor Newton Series 7 brush. It's a sable brush, and it's a watercolor brush. And it's the same one that I use for inking, but it's a thicker one. The one that I use for inking is a 00 or a 0, and this one is a 2. Oh, that's awesome, Mad. Thank you so much. Yeah, this is Twitch has been really fun. This is not only is it like forcing me to like learn a whole brand new software and way of working, because most of the time like I'm really close and I get like, and I hold my breath, and kind of being able to talk and chat while it's going on has been a really good exercise for me. So thank you for watching. Yeah, the sketch for sketch ones are a little more frantic and fun because I'm interacting and I'm drawing things on the fly, and I'm, you know, whereas something like this is going to be a little more chill. But this, you get to see more of kind of a technique rather than the same stuff. And even on sketch for sketch, I'm going to try to do some more color stuff, or maybe like some special subscriber episodes where I do color sketches, or who knows. But I am going to try this other blue now that it's sitting out here. I don't want to waste it. And this blue might work a little bit better for these darker areas. And if things look too dark, they most likely will dry lighter. But you never totally know. You just really want to avoid getting muddy. See, it's already starting to get a little bit muddy, so I probably ultimately will leave this section alone. It shouldn't be this dark anyways, but that's alright. By shouldn't, I just mean I feel like it shouldn't, but it totally could. I don't know what kind of parasite this is. Maybe this is a parasite that has a dark purple belly, and then I can't even argue with myself. Yeah, I upped my game. 5 colors. You called me out. I said that I was only going to do 4. Now I ruined that whatever it was. Promise. Nah, blue. No, I'm using two. Look, they're totally different. You can see one's way more turquoisey. That's good. I'm gonna flick it again to get. This is, I'm just kind of flicking regular water. That kind of is a different way to blend, because you'll flick one dot of water and it'll help spread out little minute stuff. I don't know. It's all just about like not like kind of just going in general shapes and then watching what happens with the paint. And I know that sounds really artsy to say, but you kind of just have to do it that way. The paint, you gotta let the paint do what the paint wants to do. The paint's like a really rebellious teenager, and you can try to guide it, but ultimately if the paint wants to go fishing at night and you're like, that's not a very good time to go fishing, the teenager's like, fuck you, Dad, I'm going fishing, and then doesn't catch anything and stuff. But paint's like the angry fishing teenager. It feels like a Friday to me, but I think that's only because I don't usually do anything on Fridays. See, I kind of made this a little bit kind of crazy, but I can add some water to it. This is what will be magical. I'll add some water to it so it looks even worse, but then before it dries, I'll do some uncool non-high school dabs, and then I can get that out of there. Yeah, now it adds a little bit, kind of cleaned it up a little bit. Yeah, I had definitely thought about the. Wait, what's your favorite part, Casey? That when I mess it up. Yeah, I want to take some suggestion. What kind of emotes would you guys like? Because I think I only get like 3 to start, so that's why I haven't committed yet. But I want to give ones that like you guys want to use. So feel free, let me know. Yeah, we got to do it by far one. That's probably by far the most popular one that I would probably do. Fix his little. So this is kind of bothering me that there is not much blue under here. Should be some blue here just to keep consistency. Even what I've learned, and I don't know if this is helpful or hurtful, I don't know if it counteracts anything that you guys have learned, but what I've learned is that when you're creating your own creatures and you're creating your own just kind of art and you're kind of more doing it for fun, consistency is more important than like reality. So like if you're consistent with the color choices and with the shading, it's a lot more it makes something a lot more convincing than not. So, you know, just the fact that like I had some darker stuff here, I have some darker stuff here, it's all kind of on the right lower bottom. I got to do that with the chin because that's kind of is where the shadows are, so where the different planes would overlap and create a little more shadow. Hey, what's up, Vex Effects? Do I ever take LSD? I've never taken LSD. I've made LSD and I've given it to little wood gnomes, and then I've watched the wood gnomes go crazy, and they would describe to me what they'd see, and then I'll paint what wood gnomes tell me on LSD that I made. But I don't even remember how I made the LSD. I think it was like part of like a Jacob's Ladder kind of thing in the army. So we're kind of doing exactly what I said I didn't want to do, which is we're making this area really muddy. So I think I got to stop on this area and move on. But I still want to differentiate some of the shapes here. See how muddy that is? No one likes that. That's not fun. Let's I'm gonna see if I can do something real quick with this. It might actually. Oh shit, Hobart! Thank you so much for the subscription. That's awesome. I know I just started opening the subscription, so that means a lot to me. And then I'll be working on emotes and stuff soon. So, see, now this is just getting really too muddy. So let's see if I can fix it. Not too bad. Then I lost a little bit of the eyelid, so let's give that a little bit more. See, now that's just bleeding everywhere. Making a mess here. All right, I'm not going to worry about that. But what I do want to do is I do want to make these legs blue. And if you just joined us, I'm just trying out this new brand of paint that I got. This new brand of watercolor paints that I have called QOR. And I don't know what it stands for. Like I've said in my other streams, I get so annoyed at names of art products and brands from art products because they have like the worst business names. It'd be a lot more memorable if they were like, you know, named after like, this is raccoon paint. Yeah, so I did just I just met all the partnership requirements, so you can subscribe now. It's definitely not a required thing. I think that like just you hanging out and watching here and interacting is like amazing. If you do subscribe, that helps obviously like a ton, because I'm going to be doing some more subscriber based content, and you get the emotes. I think I haven't made any emotes or anything, but I will, and that'll be cool. But I'm still trying to kind of figure it all out. But don't feel obligated to subscribe. Just know that you're awesome, and if you do, you're awesome also, and it will pay off. I'm going to be doing some good stuff. So, oh shit, Lee Bang, yeah. Lee Bang's been participating in a lot of the Sketch for Sketch episodes too, so that's awesome. Thank you very much. So my idea was to make these legs blue so they kind of stood out from the arms, which I'm going to make yellow in front of it, and it might work. But these, water this down. Hey, Kyle Degradable, that's an amazing name. Thank you for the subscription. That was really, really kind. I'll definitely make it worth your while, and for right now, I will not forget you, because you guys are one of the first few people to subscribe. So that means that like you're super awesome, because I don't even have cool emotes yet or anything, but I'm getting in and I'm working on them. Oh, thank you, man. That's awesome. I got to check out your stuff if you're on here. I got to check out your stream if you're streaming anything. And if you're not, still awesome. I know I said that I shouldn't touch this section again, and I really shouldn't, but I can't help it. Driving me crazy. Hell yeah. So that eyelid should not be darker than the other eyelid. That doesn't make any sense. Unless he has pink, like the opposite of pink eye. Alright, let's I'm still using the same brush. It's a number 2 Series 7 Winsor Newton brush. When I'm doing this kind of looser stuff, I like to, these hold a lot of water, so I don't have to keep dipping. I can kind of just keep going into the paint, and it's already kind of diluted. And even though I can't get too detailed, it's really loose. But at this stage, I kind of don't want the detail. I want the uncontrolledness of what I'm doing. Here, let's I think he's got to be kind of methy, so let's give him these like turquoise blue lips too, and then we'll give him really, really red gums. Well, well, well. What's up, Meow Meow? Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, you totally should do an art stream. It's fun. I was hesitant for so long. Like, I watched Twitch for the last like 2 years, and I've watched some people on video games, and I've watched some creative ones, and people paint and sculpt and stuff. But I never really totally felt compelled to do it. But I think it was just because I was intimidated. And then when I was just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. And I did a couple of streams, and it was really friendly and really supportive and really a fun thing to do. Just better. It's better than like looking through Netflix for 2 hours just to decide that you're gonna put something on in the background while you paint and then not watch it. So I'd rather hang out with you guys than do that. Oh damn, the end is nigh. Thank you. See, I was able to read that even though you try to fool me with all those numbers in your name. But thank you. That's really, really nice of you. I'll make it worth your while. Girl asleep. What up? Now you're getting me all amped. I was trying to be all chill and calm, and now you're getting me all stoked. And I don't have Kevin here to yell in the background, so I gotta be Kevin's woo. I bet Casey's yelling though. Casey's on the stream right now. He's probably gonna be yelling for me. Yeah, I do have two webcams set up. Well, one of them is webcam, this one that I'm pointing at, and then up above is a DSLR. It's a digital Rebel T6, I think, and it's on like an overhead frame, so we can get there. And I can kind of zoom in if I want to. Wait, can I? Yeah, I can zoom in. Look at that, and I can kind of show you how terrible the detail is at the moment. But it also looks weird under the light, but we're getting there. I do constantly have mic problems, and apparently lately, the last few streams, I've been having frame rate problems where it's dropping frames, but still trying to look into that too, see what's wrong with that. How I can like change the bit rate or something. So now I'm just making a total mess of this, which is okay. Let's add some more yellow. When in doubt, yellow it up. Gets it all bright. Oh, thank you so much. The end is nigh. I like your He-Man emote. Yeah, okay, I have a bitrate question then. Can you change the bitrate in the middle of a stream, or is it when you start the stream? Yeah, he should get this checked out, but he just got the parasite added to him. He was in, if you're just joining us, this is a weird old man baby that went into Toys R Us, and there was a living beanbag alien symbiote that was living at Toys R Us and decided to take over this old man baby, and now that they're just living together, so he's got to figure it out. Oh yeah, I'm using XSplit. I have OBS as well, but there's a few things in OBS that I can't, that aren't possible to do that I did need to do. I can't remember what they are at the moment, but it was kind of important. So I'm using XSplit. So I'll figure it out. I'll look into it. Let's add. So this is a very this is the crucial part too. If I want to add more color to it, like I'm trying to do, I just have to make sure that it's not super muddy. It's still watery, but not so watery that it separates the paint, and not too thick that it just turns everything brown. Well, then if you're counting the black, then technically there'll be like five or six colors. Then I have a green here, but I got the green mainly just to see what it looked like. I don't think I'm going to be needing straight green in here because everything kind of like the turquoise kind of turned to green. So yeah, we'll count the fifth color as black. And I was going to make the arms yellow too, so that they stood out from the background. Oh, thank you, Fear and Loathing. It's coming together. It'll hopefully look better when it is done. Right now, this is, like I was explaining before, this is like, it's weird because this is like, I know that paintings take a long time to do and that you have to do them in layers, and if you get impatient, then they don't look good. So try not to rush this, but I also want to do a painting from start to finish on stream so that you guys can see the process, if you're interested. Oh yeah, the fifth color should be blood. That'll be on the other show. I'm not doing too much blood stuff tonight, but you know, you never know. I could have a weird change of heart and all of a sudden blood everything up. So yeah, the thicker you put on these colors, the more vibrant they are, obviously. So got a little muddy in that torso area, but hopefully it won't be too much of a bother. I think it was mainly because I shouldn't have used the blue. I should have stayed with the reds and maybe done like an even darker magenta or something. But like I said, I'm just playing around with this new brand of paints, and I'll figure it out eventually what colors work on what. Who knows? Maybe I'll even figure it out on here. Like, I'll just keep trying to practice, and you guys can keep making fun of me for making the same mistakes over and over. But that's kind of what you have to do with anything, you know. Oh, let's make these blue. That's what I would like. Yeah, watercolor is just like, you just have to mess around with it. That's all you can do. This guy's about, I'd say probably altogether, about 8.5 feet tall. I mean, if he stood up, he'd be probably like 10 or, 11 or 12 feet tall, but let's make these a little bluer, these arms. Oh, nice. Well, welcome. Yeah, it's really fun being on here. I'm going to keep doing it. And I appreciate if you guys keep watching. But if you don't want to, I get it, You got things to do. You want to paint your own shit, go paint it. It's cool. Did I know this arm would be upper? No, I did not. I knew that I wanted to separate it, but until, I wanted to tie in the legs with the main arms, so that you kind of had a tie-in, so it looked like it went through the whole body. So this made sense to me. And the color looks a little bit blown out because the light's glaring right on it. It looks a little bit better in person. Doesn't look a little less messier. It looks like a total wreck still, but that's what watercolors are for. That's why you got to do them, because it forces you to live with the decisions that you've made, and you can apply that to life. You can take your watercolor approach to life and be like, you know what? I gave it the best that I could, the best shot that I could, and it didn't do what I wanted it to do, and now I just got to deal with it. Watercolors are a lot like life. Forrest Gump told me that, I think. So I mentioned consistency. And so, keeping with consistency, since these were all darker, this area should be darker since it's still up here to the left. So, I'll try that. Why not? Let's add a little bit of this red and make it darker. Yeah, you're asking about the brushes that you that are like the travel brushes you put water in. Yeah, those are really fun to use for washes and stuff. Let's see. That wasn't the best choice. Let's not use that. Let's try a different one. Let's try this blue. You know, sometimes you can't tell if something's correct or not, or until you do it. And sometimes it's okay. Sometimes it looks like crapola. But where should you hang it? I don't know. I haven't been to your house. Send me some photos. Send me a virtual walkthrough. Just kidding, don't. Although I would love it because I like seeing other people's houses. Gets me all stoked. My friend Skinner just bought a new house. I'm so excited to see it because he is awesome. So one of the cool things about watercolor, which I'll show you hopefully if you're still hanging out in a little while, is you can also add a little bit of final touches with some watercolor brushes. Watercolor markers, or alcoholic markers like Copic. Alcoholic meaning that they're fucking addicted to drinking vodka and then shitting out ink. Alcohol-based markers like Copic markers or Prismacolor markers. They do really well over watercolor, so you can kind of add some little details if you want. Yeah, these are pretty vibrant paints. I kind of like them. I definitely lost a lot of my original lines, but I'm just gonna I'm trying to kind of refine them right now. If you're just joining, and maybe there's a couple people on here. I'm just trying out a new brand of watercolors that I got, and I'm just trying to make this little squishy, weird little parasite monster that used to live at Toys R Us. And I'll try to start making it come together so you guys can get on with your night. So even on parts like his lips, keeping it consistent with doing the darker on the same side that you were doing it. Those little touches, they might not seem like they might not seem to work right away, but when you do it everywhere and you keep it consistent, dark, 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 dark everywhere, then it really kind of shows. And you can fudge that a little bit if putting a dark shape over something that you didn't plan out when you're drawing, and it kind of muddles up the detail of the thing next to it. You don't have to put it there. It's just kind of like you can do whatever you want. Do whatever you like. Yeah, Copics are pretty fun. They don't necessarily they're weird. You kind of you really have to practice with those two unless you want to just color straight up, because to blend them and stuff, it takes a little bit of practice, and they're the same thing. They're like a multiply layer, so every color you put on top of it just multiplies the color underneath it, and yeah, rotating the painting helps in my case. A lot of people, when they're doing watercolor, though, they tend to mount the board or mount the watercolor paper to the board. So now you can see it really getting kind of warped. But I don't mind that, because once it dries, it kind of warps itself. And it does allow me to easier spin it. You can get probably I could mount it to a little board and then do that, but then my wrist falls off the board, and I don't know. I got techniques that are probably incorrect, but they worked for me. Thanks, Casey. I gotta make a different overlay when I do this so that I'm not covering it up the whole thing. This is pretty intense overlay. Yeah, correctness in art is overrated. Do what looks good to you. I mean, don't play the total 100% haters gonna hate role and make a terrible painting, and then someone's like, oh, those eyeballs don't, whatever, and then you're like, fuck you, it's the best, because I don't care what you say. You definitely should have pride in what you do, and use reference photos when you're first painting, trying out, and kind of learn drawing, and take some pride, but overall, don't, take criticism, but don't, let it dictate you if you genuinely didn't want to draw something. If you're purposely making some kind of abstract piece, and you make the eyes all in different places, and someone goes, those eyes are in different places, then you can say, fuck you, that's what I wanted to do. When I was mentioning being consistent, I basically meant with things like shading and highlights. So, for instance, let's see if I can get a better example of it. Let's see. So, for instance, let me find a better pen. I'll do it with... I don't know where my pens are. Maybe the Sharpie will work. Let's see. Yeah, kind of light source, but definitely, but it kind of goes along. It continues through, not necessarily just light source, but for instance, so let's say that, let's say you have a cube here, and then another cube here, and this is the same drawing, and then you have some random thing here that has this kind of area, and then you have another thing here that's a guy, and he goes, "Hey, what's up? I'm holding this hot dog. Yeah." Then like, and say that like you want this part to be dark, and that just sets your shading, so the light's coming from here and it just sets your shading. You want to make sure that like, for whatever reason you made this dark, even if you have no intention of being at a light source, but now that you made this dark, you should make this part dark. You should make kind of like, you know, this is kind of a little bad example because this is going to be a different contour, but you know, all just keeping to the same side. And then on the flip side of that, the same goes for line work. Like if you're gonna make hey Kim, I know you, Kim, thank you, that's amazing. And the same thing goes with line thickness. So like if you're, let's say you want to make a hand, this is a bad example because I'm using it with the paintbrush, but I'll try to show you. So you have these two hands, and then like if you were gonna make one of the hands have a thicker arm here, because that's kind of like the more expressive, closer, you know, more weight when you're doing the line work, you want to make sure that like you kind of thicken up all of them, because if you just thickened this one up and then you decided to like thicken this one up, it would just like not be correct. So it's just mainly like, that's a bad example. I'll try to like figure out better examples of what I'm talking about next time, or a different stream. But that looks like what you're working on. Wait, this one? I think maybe I was inspired by you. You can have that. You can use it for reference. Let's see. I'm going to add a little more. I was not too stoked that this pink didn't hold up through here. It's also a little more darker than I was hoping. What else do we got here? No, that's just the same one. But I'm going to try to get... Oh, here we go. This is nice. But yeah, since I haven't used these paints before, I wasn't sure how dark or light these colors would be. So I really like bright and saturated colors, but also you got to know the value of them. And by value, I mean like the color value, so that you can put the darker ones where the darkers go. Consistency. If you guys hear grunting in the background, it's not Harvey or Chloe. I'm watching Eagleheart. Hey Greg, since you're on the stream, did you work on anything on Eagleheart? I love Eagleheart. So out of the whole painting, we definitely will all agree that this area right in the dead center where your eyeball's going is going to be the most muddied. But hopefully when I do the line work stuff, it'll soften that up a little bit, kind of blend it in, make it not so cringing. I like that people are making friends in here in the chat. That makes me happy. We should all be friends. There's not enough friendly people in the world. There can always be more. Okay, so let's let's make this weirdo's gums really saturated. So I'm just basically using the watercolor brush to basically fill these in, no water, like they're really fine lines, so I don't want to put water on it to kind of bleed into the teeth, which I'd like to keep the teeth white, maybe a little bit of yellow, but mainly white, so that they really stand out, and they'll draw. The thing about that is, like, if I can keep these teeth white and really make them bold, I can trick your eye into not noticing all this muddy shit right away. You'll notice it after you fucking look at it and you're like, oh, that's a muddy piece of shit. But right now, right away, you'll be like, oh, cool, teeth, and then he's got a crazy body. So my goal is to keep these teeth pretty white. This guy has whiter teeth than me for sure. Oh, thank you, Soulchemy. Either way. Oh yeah, no, okay, Greg. I'm glad that you brought that up. I'm not sure if anybody else will know this, but there was a show with Chris Elliott, and I believe Charlie Kaufman wrote some of it in the early 90s, I believe, called Get a Life. And it was fucking hysterical. And it was like the first example of like a sitcom that was like a living cartoon. It was so bizarre, especially for the time. It was definitely like an Adult Swim style sitcom that like no one understood. So it was only a couple seasons. But Greg, who's on the chat here, Greg made one of the most popular props from that show, which is an alien called Spewy. And it was an alien that just vomits everywhere. That's how he communicates. And it was so cool. And when I found out Greg made that, I flipped out because I loved that show and I love Spewy. Greg's made a lot of other stuff that are like legitimately, like, you know, historically better and cooler than Spewy, but some little nerdy things like that I like. Yeah, Chloe's amazing. Oh, nice. Tell your fussy 9-month-old that I said hello. And then let's see. And then maybe she can start drawing. Start showing her Mark Kistler's Commander Mark from the 80s and 90s. That's the show that I learned how to draw from, like, as an adult. I mean, I learned it, like, you know, as a late teenager, but I'm a big fan of swallowing your pride and learning shit that kids know. It's like the best way to learn. Oh, thank you, Robo-chan. Thanks for hanging out. Alright, so I think we're getting to the point. Let me make this a little darker over here. So instead of doing straight black line work, I'm going to do some black in some places, but, oh, I did it. I wiped off my brush on my brand new shirt. I do that all the time. Oh, well. Oh, I don't know if I can do like a subscriber auction or something, but maybe. I definitely I'm going to be doing I want to take suggestions because I want to do some really cool stuff for the subscribers. I want to, and I haven't thought about it too much because we just became partners yesterday. So, as in me and you, we're partners now. It's good. Oh. But let's see. So what I was saying is that I want to kind of keep it consistent. So I want to maybe I can take a darker purple. Let me see if there's a darker purple in here. Nah, there's a Payne's gray, but that's more like a bluish. But let's just, oh, you know what there is though? Let's try this one. This will be like a fun thing that I can show you. Maybe. So I'm basically going to take a darker gold that looks pretty much borderline brown. I just put this on top left. And then Let's see. Yeah, I used to wipe on my pants, and it would seep through to my leg, and then I would get in bed and I would have paint all over my bed. So then I did it on my arm so that I could wash my arm, and then I just started doing it in my armpit, and that seems to be more fun. So let's see. I'm gonna take some of my 00 brushes are a little shot at the moment. I use these things so much, and the brand, like, I think that you can find them again, but for a while this company, Winsor Newton, wasn't producing these Series 7 brushes, and I was trying to hoard them, but then I was going through them so quickly. So I'm going to try to find one that's... I think I can use this 0. Let's try this one. This is just a 0. But it's a 0, but it means a lot to me. It means it's priceless to me. So I'm going to take some of this brown and really lighten it up. Let's see what that looks like. It's still really brown. It's like Murphy brown. But maybe I can mix it with a little bit of yellow. Watercolor mixing is okay. It's not as good as like acrylic mixing and stuff because the pigment's not quite there, but it still works. So, okay, so I got like kind of like this. So instead of doing a full-on black line, I want to do more of just like a darker color of what is underneath it so that it keeps it a little softer, but I can still have line work on there. Because line work is my favorite part of the drawing. It ties everything together for me. But with watercolors, if I can do like a softer line, it's kind of, it has a cool effect when it's all done. It's not that cool as I'm doing it, but yeah, I'll take you on a field trip. That sounds fun. We can go. We'll go hunt down Todd McFarlane. Dave Correa is really good at. Not only is he good at art, but he's really good with suggestions. So I'm going to actually look to him to see what some kind of subscription stuff does. Because for now, I'm just like, oh, you want like you get a Twinkie. I'll go buy Twinkies for everybody. Yeah, Dave, get on it, dude. I'll do some wallpaper. I want to like go way overboard though. Like, I'm gonna really think about it because I don't want to do like what's the standard or what's the same. Like, I want to like look at what people do and be like, all right, cool. I know what people expect, so let's give them something way better. But I'll still do the same stuff. Like, just gotta let me know what you want, and I'll try to figure it out. We can go to the dog park together on Skype. Oh, thank you, May Station. Yeah, it's weird. Like I was saying, this process is a little weird and vulnerable for me to do because I genuinely like I don't think a painting's working until like the last 5% of it. And I think a lot of artists kind of do that. So sharing like a process when, you know, I'm using paints that I've never used before because I'm just trying them out. I'm talking while I'm doing it, and it's, you know, it's a little nerve-wracking creatively, but it's also, I think that like I never really got a chance to watch people make mistakes and paint and stuff when I was trying to learn, so hopefully it helps, or at least it's something that you can clip and show your friends and be like, look, he's not that great. Yeah, I think my goal is to like, if you're into art at all, I kind of want to, hopefully you'll pick up a little bit of something, even if it's just one tiny thing that not even necessarily is what I meant to say, but if it inspires you to think a certain way, like a lot of the rules, you know, for stuff like when I say stuff like consistency or something, like those can be applied to any style, really. So it's not necessarily like I'm not trying to like teach my style so much as I just want to let you know like how my process is, because maybe you can apply it to if you sculpt or create music, or you know, the way that I've like, I don't understand music writing at all, and I think the people that do it are insane and cool, but like I've been told that it's very similar to like sketching. Like you'll start with a melody, or you'll start with something and you'll just form it and reassess it and stuff. So oh, thank you guys. Oh, thank you. So this kind of this brown line looks a little weird right now, but it'll look really cool against, like, I'll show you when I do the blue line for the legs. Will probably, in my mind, will look cool, but let's see. Let me get this done. Add a little more yellow into there. The camera is not quite above my head. The camera's right here, so it's in front of my head. Oh, I just bumped it. Yeah, so it's like almost in front of my head. I'll share my setup. Like, I'm still dialing it in. Like, this is only like the 9th or 10th time that I've done this stream. So almost every time, with the exception of today, I've like unhooked everything and changed everything and rearranged my room and stuff. So when I get it dialed in, I'll kind of share with you what I'm doing. And I should actually just be asking you guys what I should be doing now so that I don't keep fucking messing up. But messing up is how you learn. And I'm totally okay with that. Yeah, Dave, I'm not sure if Dave's still in here, but yeah, both of us did, we both did In Flames art. We were both kind of art directors for different projects for theirs, and the album that Dave worked on is so rad. Oh yeah, I worked with Dredge a little bit. I directed or co-directed and art directed a video for Dredge. They were Stephen Reedy, who's normally on the Sketch for Sketch show. He directed the video that I kind of art directed and built stuff for, and that was really fun. The video, I think, was awesome. Chucky Bree, Chucky Bray. I don't know, but Chucky, you awesome. Thank you very much. Oh, that's cool about In Flames. Yeah, they're dope. They're still putting out dope stuff. Chucky, like I was saying, if you missed it, since we just started the subscription thing, I don't have any of the cool stuff right now, like emotes and all that stuff, but I definitely am going to be working on that ASAP so that you guys have some benefits to subscribing, and I'll try to figure out what kind of like exclusive content I can offer, like, you know, bonus streams or lessons. I'm not a good teacher, but I can tell you what I know, but I'll make it worth your while. So I appreciate you subscribing. Oh, thanks. Yeah, the collaborative piece that Dave and I did together was for an art show called Conjoined, so it made sense that like Dave and I were going to do separate ones, but then since the art show was it was called Conjoined, just, you know, coincidentally we decided to like conjoin our efforts and work together. And the thing that might sound weird is that, like, despite being friends with Dave for years and being friends with Skinner and Robert Bone and all these like cool artists that we kind of like grew up or not necessarily grew up, but at the time when we were all trying to be artists, we kind of all bonded over that. And surprisingly, we haven't done much actual collaboration together. Like that, collaborating with an artist is I guess it's not as like easy as it sounds, because every single person, every single artist, especially self-taught artists, have so many different ways of laying down paint and laying down drawings and everything, that it's really hard to kind of do a genuine collaboration without one of the artists just totally compromising or taking the lead. But with Dave and I, we were sharing a studio at the time, so it was really easy and really fun to just kind of like scribble back and forth, and we both agreed ahead of time, like, this is the materials we'll be using, here's where I'm going to go, this is what you should do, and then we'll go back and forth, and we just did it over the course of a few days, and it was really fun. With the line work, yes. The question about the line work, do I do a thicker line to indicate kind of shading? And yes and no. On a drawing like this or a painting like this that has some kind of shading in it, I might not focus on that as much. But if I'm doing just a black and white piece where the line work basically describes the expression, that describes the forms going forward and backwards, definitely like the thicker line would be where the shadows are. And there's every artist has a different way of doing line work, and especially if you look at any comic book, there's so many different ways to ink stuff to show definition and depth and stuff, and you really should just explore all of those until you find out like the way that you like doing it, or the ones that you like doing, because there's all these different ways. Yeah, Dave just mentioned that he doesn't really like collaborating too much either, and it's so much not like, it's not an offensive thing. It's more of like, I get so much more out of feeding off what an artist does and feeding like inspiration or watching how somebody else does something, rather than like just being like, hey, we should do something together. Like it's almost like more beneficial to just kind of be around people that you like and observe and watch and try to mimic and stuff. Getting help from other artists and like tips and stuff like that, for sure, that's a lot different than collaborating. Yeah, I agree, Dave. So the cool thing about doing this line work that's kind of colored is that I can soften up the shading part of the line even more and add another shadow without, like if I was to do that with the black, it would be way too contrasty and it wouldn't work. But with this, I can really just soften it and blend it and add these little details that start kind of pulling the shapes in and out, forward and backwards. Oh yeah, as far as like collaborating, as far as like working with people or alongside of people or putting shows together, of course, like that's fun. It's got to be with the right people though, the same. It's what I found out in my experience is, I imagine this is the same with any kind of genre or any kind of work, actually, even like at your if you work a day job and have coworkers and stuff, like you'll find out that like no matter if you respect somebody or will look up to somebody or whatever and like think that is like enough of a reason to like, or not a reason, but like if you think that like that's like things are going to work out because you like them, like that's kind of like one of those things where it's like you have to collaborate with the right person. And like if you find yourself, and I've done this tons of times where like I'll really respect somebody and look up to them, so like when the option of like working together on a show or something comes up, you're like, oh yeah, of course I want to. And then you realize that, like, even if this person is like an amazing artist or even an amazing friend, they might have a different work style, and it might just like not work out, and that's okay. You know, just no stress. Everything art related should be fun. If you do art for like freelance for a living, it's okay if it's not fun sometimes, because that is how you learn, and that's how you get to be able to do the fun stuff. So it's okay to complain about doing art sometimes. I do it all the time. Ask Dave Correa. I don't know if you can make your own. I mean, I'm sure you can make your own walnut ink. I just don't know what it's from. Oh yeah, no problem. I'll pretty much answer anything. Well, unless stuff that'll get me in trouble. Greg, it's funny. I just ranted about collaborating, and Greg is on the stream, and we're currently collaborating on something. But it's a completely different thing, because see, with Greg and I, we have different skills. So we're not painting something together. So Greg is a sculptor and I guess a fabricator, I guess we can say. Basically, he makes magic out of anything. So we're currently working on a couple sculptures, and Greg is an insanely good master sculptor, and I am not. So that's when we're not even collaborating, basically. Like, he's doing all the good stuff, and I'm just being like, dude, this is so rad. So, Greg Aronowitz, look him up. I agree. Greg gets me. I think out of everybody on here, well, not on here, but sorry, everybody that I've worked with, Greg and Dave, they both get me. That's why they're here. Casey, I think you get me too. Chloe gets me. So there's a few people that get me. That's who I can collab with. I actually collab a lot with Chloe because our styles are so different that it's almost like funny to just do these totally like random different things together. And I really love her art and her photography. Let's see, what am I? Oh yeah, I'm gonna let's do a little bit on down here. Let's do this. Yeah, mustard gas contains real mustard. Duh. That's why it's called mustard gas. And also it's French's. French's is the ones that they work with the army and the government. How do you think they fund all their mustard? So with these legs in the back, sometimes I like how watercolor works, where things in the background, it might even be cool to just not do art, because they do have a shape to them already. So I'm not even barely gonna put any lines on them. Baby oil has real babies in it. There's a lot of things that have like baby shampoo has baby hair in it, or like the grease from baby's hair in it, and that's kind of like, it works like almost like a vaccine, where you have to have some of the host in it. Let's see. So I'll put a couple little details just to kind of, once again, that consistency where you got to have a little bit of the darkness. And then I'm going to jump into so let's add a little bit. This is still bothering me a little bit that these aren't that dark. Thanks, Red. You should watch me do like 19 hours of line work. That's where my favorite. Well, actually, my favorite kind of line work to do is let me use a bigger one to splatter some more texture. My favorite kind of line work to do is on clayboard, which I'll do one of these. I'll do one of these for sure with a clayboard, which is a scratch board, so you can see, like, because with a scratch board I can do a line with black, but then I can go back into it with like literally like the sharpest knife in the world and scratch little white details into the black line, and it's so rad. So I'll show you guys how I do that too, because that's one of my favorite things to work on. Where's the bigger brush I was going to use to splatter? Let's try a little bit with this. This is a number 3, but I want to get a little more texture on here. Not a lot. And then I'll do it a little lighter with the water. And you can't really tell, but let me see if it just makes me feel better because I know that, like, it's there and it adds a little bit of texture. And it's fun to do. And that's what this is all about. Oh yeah, I haven't been on Snapchat in a while. I want to, but I'm trying to juggle like all these, trying to figure out what's the best one for me. And so far, Instagram has just kind of been the most consistent for me to do. But okay, let's put that aside. Let's do a little bit. We got to do the black. Sorry, not the black. We got to get this dark red in here. Well, then hopefully by doing this in different colors, it does kind of soften it up a little bit and set it aside from if I was to just do, like I was saying when you mentioned doing the line work on a watercolor painting in ink, if the line work is all the same but all the texture underneath it is different, it just kind of floats on top of it and it separates it so that it looks like you drew on top of a watercolor thing, where if you can kind of soften up the lines a little bit and still do them still create line work. Got an update from Chloe, so I'm seeing what she's doing. I'm gonna send her a picture of what we're doing. I'm gonna wait. Can I wave on it? I'll tell everyone you said hi. I'm glad she's not dead. All right. Back to finishing up this lines. And this cold press watercolor paper is also textured, so it's surprising. It works surprisingly well with watercolor for doing line work. But if you were to try to do some ink or even a pen or anything, the texture really shows. So if I was going to do line work on a watercolor piece and I wanted it to be black, I would first use black watercolor paint to use it. I'll water it down a little bit, and then where I wanted it really black, I'd go into it with like ink so that I can get the details. I'll try to, I'll like make a list. Like in my head, I do the same thing every time I draw or paint. But the more that I talk about it, the more I realize like I do have more like techniques depending on the material and stuff. So I'll try to like, you know, spend some time and go through as much of that as I can now that I'm on Twitch a lot, because I think that that's something that I never had. And not that I want you guys to like mimic it or expect you guys to, you know, learn anything, and I don't want to necessarily treat this as a, like, this is how you have to do it. But I think that just seeing, like, you know, I used to watch Bob Ross my whole life, and I've watched probably every episode. I mean, there's probably like 500 episodes of Bob Ross, and they were always the same. And I never once have painted an oil painting landscape, but some of the things that he showed were very just kind of like subconsciously picked up and applied to what I do. So that's kind of all I want out of this new kind of Twitch deal that I got going on. And I just want friends, you know. It's been 2017 was a rough year for everybody, I think. Well, for almost everybody. But, you know, I want some friends, man. Looks like there's some new people here, which is great. Hello, new viewers. Welcome to this very chill, non-sketch for sketch stream, which I'm going to be doing more of, just because I'm getting more comfortable with sharing my work with you guys, because it's is fun. So, you know, I'm usually pretty private. Dave knows that. We shared a studio together, and he was like the only person I could ever draw or anything in front of, but that's expanding now that you guys are here. I'm not as embarrassed. I mean, I'm still embarrassed, but I'm hiding it. I'm forced to hide it because there's a camera on me. Oh yeah, Vince. This is kind of in that same kind of vein, right? Like, I think that like when I'm doing these quick, I guess not really quick, but when I'm doing these kind of watercolor experiments, it's really fun to just kind of combine some of the shapes that I like together, and they turn into things like the. I did a couple other paintings one's called The Imposter, and one's called Mr. Puppet, and they're very along the same kind of lines, you know. But Chloe says hi back. I told you guys all said hi collectively. All right, let's where was I? Oh, here we go. We need to get a little bit here. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. The cool thing about these Series 7 Sable brushes is you can go let me bust out something. I'll try to do it on this page. There's some blank space here. You know, you can get kind of like, oh, let me focus that. You can get like a fat chunky line, right? But these brushes hold paint and water so well that, like, you know, you can do this kind of chunky line, but you can also go so light and get like, I'm holding my breath, but you can get really, really tiny details with that. So I'm a fan of multi weighted lines and details and texture. Thank you, RoboChan. Yeah, no problem. Like I said, it's not necessarily the correct way. I wasn't school taught or anything, so if there's any teachers in here, there's anybody that studied classical, you know, I may not be doing things correctly, but this is kind of what I've picked up over the years of just experimenting, which I suggest experimenting as the only way, or not the only way, but as a good way to learn how you want to use something. Like, like I had a hard time. I never went to art school, but I did try to take some art classes in high school, and even so, it was like, you know, when I wanted to use acrylics and make kind of a messy painting with acrylics, the teachers were like, no, acrylics aren't to be messy, watercolors are to be messy. So it was just kind of like, well, I don't like why? And so I just kind of said fuck it, and I'm just like, I'll do what I want to do. And big influence on that decision to say, you know, to just go against what I'm supposed to do was a comic book artist named Sam Keith, who he made a comic book called The Max in the 90s. He's still making a lot of comics today, but The Max was a comic book that it was the first comic book that I saw that seemed to break all the rules. I mean, as far as like, I wasn't exposed to a lot of indie comics back then because I grew up in like the suburbs, but it was the closest thing that I've ever seen to a comic that broke all the rules. And it was like things splattered outside of the frame, and like some frames were drawn really crudely with just a smiley face, and others were super hyper detailed. And it was like, oh my god, these like this doesn't make sense. Like, why would he be doing this if this is not how you're supposed to do it? And then I'm like, actually, it's so fucking cool. I want to just not listen to anybody's rules. So I hope you guys are having. Oh, my overlay's kind of starting to match the palette a little bit. That's fun. I shouldn't have drank an entire cup of water and this whole juice, because now I'm like, I need a break. But we're good. I'm holding out. I'm gonna keep going. This is how I induce bladder infections. That's always good. It's a fun thing to do when I go on long trips where I'm by myself and I'm like nervous that, like, I've never fallen asleep driving, but I feel like I've come really close to it sometimes. So I'll just like load myself up with like hella water or hella drinks, and I like won't pee, and that'll just like keep me awake. And it's terrible, I'm sure, but sometimes it's better than dying, you know. Yeah, the Max is amazing. My Hulu, for some reason, is set to Spanish, which I don't speak. I'm not opposed to it. I'm just curious why. Like, not the shows, but the commercials are all in Spanish. It's so weird. I do live in a Hispanic neighborhood, so maybe that's why. Maybe it's localized or something. I was watching this, I was flipping through like the IRL Twitch streams, which are super funny. Well, like, not funny, I mean, some of them are interesting, but like they're really eclectic and weird. And we found this one, Chloe and I were doing it together, and we found this one where this guy was playing guitar, and then he was like, I gotta pee, and then he's like, I hope you guys don't mind, I'm gonna keep the mic on. And then he just like straight up went and peed with like his mic on while he was like going, oh, so good. And it was like this, it was so weird. And we watched it, you know. Why not? So I'm just adding a few extra little washes to some of the areas to maybe give them a little bit more pigment before I kind of finish up with the line work. And with watercolor, it's just about building up texture. That's all it is. It's just basically color by numbers, but you can't really determine, like, your numbers are going to be different every time you do it. It'll be like if you were like half blind and someone told you to do color by numbers, or like you had like a site where like your eyesight kept shifting things so that you were like, I think I'm going to put this here, and then it would just end up over there. It's pretty much like painting with watercolors is. So. Oh, happy birthday. Wait, is it 2 minutes from now? I don't know when you sent that, but shit. Happy birthday, meow meow. Right on. I don't have any like sounds or fun clips, but I'm wishing you happy birthday. Hell yeah. Let me, here. Let's see. Do I have a piece of paper in here? Here, I'll give you a special birthday shout out. Put this aside for it to dry for a second. Wash this off for a second. Wipe it off. I've been doing so good with not wiping in my armpit. I know I did once or twice, but let's see. I hope you're 3 years old. Yay, birthday shout out. Happy birthday, meow meow. Yeah. It is Angry Pet Cake with arms. But yeah, there you go. Happy birthday. That's the best I can do. Hope you dig it. Well, it's not that much to dig, but it's delicious. Happy birthday, Land Before Space Time. We'll get you on the next one, because I gotta get back to this. Let's see where. Oh yeah, I got to get the eyes. Okay, so this is where I'm going to kind of do. I'm going to fudge it a little bit. Well, not fudge it, but I'm going to get some black paint. Did this come with black? This did not come with black. How annoying. Well, you know, maybe Payne's Gray will work for now. Let's try this Payne's Gray on for size. It's close to black, but when you look at it, it's more like a gray blue. My birthday's coming up, actually. My birthday is on February 5th. But don't feel obligated to do anything. It's okay. I just want you guys to hang out here. Okay, so this is going to be dark, but let's see. See, this Payne's Gray is weird because it goes on dark and then it instantly dries way lighter. But maybe we can at least add some texture in there. So, thanks. Yeah, I've been meaning to get a PO box set up. I just not so that you can. I mean, of course, like if you want to like send, drawings for. Well, I guess not for the Sketch for Sketch because we're doing that digital, but. We just moved back to California, so I don't have a P.O. box set up yet, but I'll get one. I'll let you know. I like getting fun stuff in the mail. Do you guys ever watch iDubbbz on YouTube? He does some fun like unboxing videos where people send him random shit and he unboxes them on his channel. It's fun. Unboxing, bro. Everyone just send vinegar. That would sick. Hey, Trap Luke. Yeah, if you're joining us late, this isn't an episode of Sketch for Sketch. This is just me painting. I got some new watercolor paints, and I just wanted to try them out and kind of hang out, doing a solo stream tonight. The Sketch for Sketch episodes are Mondays and Wednesdays with the gang. And in the future, we'll probably be doing, like, I'll be having more guests and stuff like that, which I think would be really fun. Not so much that there's not already enough ruckus amongst the crowd, but because, like, I think that it'd be really fun to kind of have, like, a side-by-side with maybe some artists that are friends of mine that you might want to watch that don't normally stream or something, and we can both take on the same sketch and compare notes at the end. That'd be really fun. And then I'll always lose, because that'll be the nature of it. This Payne's Gray is working okay, because it's not like super heavy black, so. The paints are pretty good, I think. I enjoy them. They're pretty vibrant. So a lot of times with watercolors, they look like they're going to be vibrant, and then they're not. They're kind of dull, especially because you're diluting them as you work constantly. But these are pretty good. These are holding up pretty nice. I don't know why I yawned. I'm not tired, but I just felt like maybe that helped break the silence. But it wasn't on purpose either. Maybe my dog yawned. I don't know. We'll never know. It'll be a mystery. So see how thin I can get with this brush, even though it's kind of a thicker brush, I can get really thin with it. Sorry, I'm holding my breath again because these tiny details. Like for the whole first part of the painting, I don't care about where anything goes, and then the last part I'm all just like, shut up, I'm talking, I'm trying to paint. Oh yeah, that does totally look like lemon heads. Dude, I remember lemon heads. Do they still make lemon heads? Another breath holding. That's just because I got to keep these. There's an artist that I used to really like, and I don't take much influence from him just because it's a totally different technique. But I really love his art. Is an artist named Joe Coleman, JoeColeman, and he does these insane kind of like collage paintings based around really fucked up shit that happens in history, and but his paintings he paints them entirely with a brush that he only has one hair on, and he paints it, with like these goggles, and just goes, and they're pretty big paintings too, and so to answer your question, will this be for sale? I sell my originals periodically, so I would just if I do, I'll let you know, but sometimes I just throw them in the drawer for a while. But thank you for asking. I like that people, when I like selling artwork, it's a weird, crazy feeling that it's like, oh, I just made something from nothing, and you're willing to give me $50 or $100 or whatever. So it's a cool feeling. So I do sell my artwork a lot, but I'm not sure if or when I'll be doing it with this one. Oh, meow meow. You don't have to buy the birthday card. Also, I think that I know that you've submitted sketches and stuff. So the next time I send out the sketches from the shows, I'll look on the thing and I'll try to remember to send you that card with just by itself. I'll find your address on there and I'll send it to you. It might not be for a few days, but remind me if I forget. Thank you, Wasa. I'm almost done holding my breath, so hope it's not too boring. Thank you, Lee. I enjoy doing it on here. It actually kind of keeps me focused because when I'm normally painting, like with just like watching movies or whatever, I get sidetracked quite a bit. So, I'll get up and go get some more vinegar, check my emails, see what's up on Twitter, make some dumb joke, and then come back. So this actually kind of keeps me focused, which means that it makes me get more things done a little faster. So this is kind of cool. I'm doing this with no black, which is not normally something that I do, but I think that because of the values and stuff, I think it still kind of fits. The donation thing, I think that the best, I think about that a lot, and I understand donations, and I really, really like. I would obviously appreciate it if someone was to give me even like a nickel, but I think that like, I think that the best way to be able to donate to the channel and kind of keep me into doing this is help support what I do for a living, which is sell my own merchandise and my brand. So it's now like I did have a company called Zero Friends for years. Now I'm on my own, so I'm doing my own thing. So it's all 100% me. So I do all the designing, all the the websites, of like everything. So and as long as I sell stuff on there, I'll be able to keep doing stuff on stream. So the best way to kind of support me and the channel and the future of the channel is to go and buy something on alexpardee.com at some point, or don't, like, regardless. But I think like having a donation link, like I donate to a ton of streams too, and I get it and I like it, and it feels good to donate, but I'm not sure it's at this moment it's not necessary, I guess. Like I'm doing okay, and I could obviously, like, as long as I can keep selling shirts and pins and prints, then that's how I want to pay for this. I want to keep giving away free art on Sketch for Sketch. I want to keep making that channel bigger, that show bigger. So, or by selling the original. Yeah, keep your eye open. I'll probably get rid of this one in a little while, but I'll let you know. Oh yeah, grab that hoodie. You can see this is my new shirt that just came out today, called Here's John. And I also got it in black, and I have it in hoodie form, zip-up hoodie. And then I'll have these hats coming out next week, these Brightmare kind of dad hats. I'm going to fix the logo a little bit. It's embroidered, but we got a little bit of fixing. So I do a lot of like sample stuff now, product development, to make sure that everything's cool. And I'll be having a lot more stuff. So the more of that I sell, the more I can just hang out with you guys and draw. That'll be good. That's my goal. No, my vinegar is not kombucha. I don't like kombucha. Nice. Thank you, Land Before Space Time. Yeah, I understand, Meow Man. I get it, and I'm not gonna say that I'll never do it, because obviously, like, the more I want to put more into Sketch for Sketch. I want to put more into being able to get this. Obviously, like, this is still like my first month doing this, so I want to get better equipment. It's just all stuff that I started out with. So like that would be appreciative, but I think at this point I just kind of want to just hang out. So thank you. And I'll be having a lot more stuff on my store in the next month or two as well. So there will be multiple ways to help donate to that, even if you've already got stuff. But I know it's a little scarce at the moment. But oh, thanks, Greg. We'll make sure you get one. Hopefully it'll fit your head. Haha. I know it will. You got a tiny head. But it's a cool head with a beautiful brain. I'm currently not doing any commissions at the moment. I've done them in the past for years, actually. And, you know, I've done commission jobs and I've done art trades and I've done all that. But right now at the moment, my schedule just like between... I have a bunch of kind of like... a bunch of larger projects also as well in the works of stuff that like I can't talk about and stuff, you know, yet. Kind of things like cartoon pitches that I'm trying to make, movies that I'm trying to make, you know, video game stuff. Like still more things kind of on the back end that are taking up a lot of my time, so that I still, there's actually, I think Vince, if Vince is still in here, Vince hired me for a commission probably 2 years ago now, and I still haven't been able to finish it, and it's making me feel really bad. So it's just kind of like I don't want to overpromise stuff. So no commissions at the moment, but if I ever do again, I'll definitely like let you know for sure. Oh, thank you, man. Or girl. Sorry, it doesn't have a... Or undisclosed gender. Doesn't have a gender thing about it. As it shouldn't. Let me get this. I think Hulu finally gave up on me and was like, alright, I get it. You're not watching. Oh, I love Cuphead. Cuphead's such a great game. Yeah, I was following the project of that, or the progress of that game for years, and it was so awesome when it finally came out, and it's such a beautiful game. It's so hard, I can't even play it. I have to like pay my friends to play it in front of me, or watch just YouTube or Twitch. So we're gonna put on the last of the freckles here, and then I think, well, that was a terrible freckle. Oh, my brush is all split. That's okay. If your brush splits, like, Vince, they were asking about commissions, and I was telling them how bad I feel that I haven't even finished yours yet, and it's been almost 2 years. So I'm not currently taking commissions until I get yours done. Ha ha. Oh yeah, so my brush split. The best thing to do is just kind of just dip it in some water and roll it in between your fingers, and it should be all right. Thanks, buddy. Well, can only do a little bit of shading in the teeth, and then I think we'll be all good. Just give those gums a little goopiness. Adds a little bit to it. I could do the same with the eyes. Oh, made that too green. Very light. Oh, I haven't played. Wait, what did Monster Hunter come out on? The Switch or something? Regardless, it is a good night. You know, let's do a little bit more of this. Let's do some blue splatters, because just because, why not? Let's do it with a little bit of bigger. Oh, nice. I gotta look into that. I like Monster Hunter. I didn't even know there was a new one. I'm a terrible fan. The last of the texture flicking. Sometimes that's the stage where I mess up something the most. I'll be like, oh my god, it flicked right on where I didn't want it to. But whatever. It's really quickly, I'm going to answer Chucky's question before I move on regarding Cintiqs versus iPads. If you have an iPad, it's pretty fucking awesome. iPad and Procreate is pretty rad, especially since you can import layered Photoshop files into Procreate. So you can start something in Photoshop and finish it up in Procreate in the same layers or vice versa. So I would suggest just sticking with the iPad Pro. I mean, they're only going to get better. There probably will be Photoshop on there eventually. But like, Cintiqs are also great. I just upgraded. I had like a 12, it was called a 12WXD, and it was a 12-inch Cintiq. And I worked on that for the last 6 years, and I finally upgraded to, I got a 27 QHD or whatever. It's ridiculous. And like, it's almost like too much. So I love my iPad. I use my iPad every day. So I suggest just keeping on with that. But everything does need to come to the Switch. I love the Switch. But yeah, so here's basically, let's see. It turned into something okay. It looks a little bit better in person than it does on the camera because of the lighting, but I think it was pretty fun. And I appreciate you guys watching how I don't know. Oh, thanks, Vince. Yeah, like it was. I was a little nervous about trying some new paints and trying something new in front of everybody, but I think that it went out okay, and you guys were very, very kind and amazing. So thank you for that. Thank you for the people that subscribed. Thank you for the people that chatted, that hung out, that did all this fun stuff with me, asked good questions. I want to keep it up. I might try to do another stream during the weekend, but the best way to find out, just follow my social or follow me on Twitch so that it sends you a notification. But regardless, we got a lot of stuff in the works for the Sketch for Sketch show, which we're still refining. Feel free to let me know what you like or dislike about that, and we'll be doing those again on Monday. So Monday night, I'll see you regardless. And yeah, thank you guys. Good night, everybody. Yeah, that's cool. I don't have any other send off. I'm just gonna like make this motion to grab my mouse, and then I'm gonna like maybe like go up here and maybe just turn it off. But thank you, and everybody have a wonderful night, and you're great.